Now let's take another look at these. This is the new one. This is the existing one. And it slightly looks different, doesn't it? It just ever so slightly looks different. And the main crux is that there's an outside little trim piece right here that this existing one doesn't have. You just put the screw in there. That's the only thing they had. And this looks like it's part of the this type of hinge install, and that gives you so that you can adjust your cabinet doors slightly, I think, one way or another on something that, see, this one does it a little different. This, if you want to move this back and forth, you would undo that little screw right there. This particular one doesn't have that on the back side. You'd have to unscrew this face thing and slide this, okay? But and that's actually kind of slick for doing the same thing, okay? So this thing really is not going to affect anything when it's on the side of the cabinet base frame down there, okay? When I go like that. In fact, I shouldn't even have to take this out. I should just be able to put the big screw right in through there, okay? And then this can adjust later. Now what is the difference between a self-closing hinge and a non-self-closing hinge? Well, non-self-closing hinge, you'll know it, because when you close your door, if it's not closing nice and slow, you know it's not a self-closing one. See how it's not, if you let go here, it closes because the hinge is designed to make it close when you hold it like that. But it's not a slow close that when you stop it here, it just goes like that. And that's what she wants. She wants that because she doesn't want to hear him slamming all the time and things. Oh man, it was driving me nuts the other night when she was doing all that. Well, I could get most of that to stop by putting the door bumpers on there and doing that kind of thing, right? But you're still going to hear it thunk, thunk, thunk. And so she wanted the cush slow hinges. Now see, this one's got a little plastic goodie on their mechanism. Well, this one doesn't. And that's what makes it slow. See, I'm going to close that and it hits, and we'll just watch it here. See how it's closing by itself. Do you see there? Now obviously it's going to go a little bit faster than that when I put it on a cabinet door, but that's kind of how that's going to work. See how it's closing? And it's all because of this. It's very slick how they did that in the same depth of a self-closing hinge. And don't, like I say, don't kid yourself. There's a lot of different designs. Some of them are longer than this. Some of them are deeper. Some of them aren't as deep as this. They got, like I said, this one's this one's called an 1.25 inch self-closing. They had a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1.25 inch where I went to the store. And then they have other designs that are slightly different than this altogether. At least 2 different ones that I've seen. So that makes, you know, at least, what is that, 4, 5, 6, and I'm sure there's more than that. So that's why you need to take your hinge to the store. Very simple. And if one store doesn't have it, go to another store and take a look at it, okay? But in any case, that's very nice. These had that little screw, and that is how you can adjust cabinet doors going up or down. You know, if your door is tilted, if your door looks like it's sagging, then maybe that screw needs to be tightened to pull it back up. Or maybe you've pulled it up as far as you can on that one, it still looks sagging. Take the bottom one, undo that screw, and make it longer over here. and that will help push that up. There's all kinds of ways on regular self-closing door hinges or regular concealed door hinges that you can adjust, as well as the soft close door hinges. So if you have issues with your door hinges and you can't see them, they're called concealed hinges, but they might look different than this. Okay, like I say, they're not all the same, and you can go about adjusting them, raising them, lowering them, tightening them up, making sure everything's tight and all that kind of stuff. Get your cabinets. The last thing, the worst thing is when you got nice looking cabinets and stuff, seeing one that's sagging or something. Now see that one above the microwave here is sagging. You can see how it's tighter towards the top than the bottom. That's because that hinge was loose. Remember I was showing you before? If I were to just tighten that hinge, then that would make that straight again. And that's what I would do if we were leaving these concealed hinges. But I'm going to take all these down and put the new ones. Okay? All right. So enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. Now I'm looking at these, and they came with two different sizes of screws, some short screws, some long screws, and all I can deduce is if you got thicker cabinets, obviously you may end up using the longer screws. Well, I know I'm going to need just small little screws. When I took those out of the back of this door, they had drilled the hole, and see, they even put little plastic anchors in there, which I thought was kind of slick, because then that keeps your small little screws from stripping out over time going into the wood. Okay? And they decided they were going to use the small screws. Now if you had thicker hinges or something, maybe you use the longer screws. And I noticed in a 2-pack it came with these screws, and also came with the little plastic anchors in here. Okay? And if your cabinet doesn't have the plastic anchors, they sell those at the store. You can buy the 2-packs and they have the plastic anchors in there. You have to glue them in there. That's if yours are stripped out or something, whatever. You could take those plastic anchors and put them in there, or put them in with some crazy glue or something like that. If they're still wobbling around there or something. I kind of like that, so I'm making the assumption I'm going to have the little plastic screws probably. The plastic anchors probably in all these cabinets, and then when I took this off, I just put the big screw back in there, and see, on these it just takes one screw for these hinges to go back in the door. And of course they don't come with this. This is to modify your existing cabinets. Okay. If you have brand new cabinets and you want to put the self-closing hinges on there, well, chances are you're going to order your cabinets from a cabinet maker, and he's going to put the hinges on there and all that kind of stuff, so you're not going to have to worry about that. It's just you want to save your big screws. Well, I'm going to put those screws back in. So with this, giving me this, I'm probably only going to use the small screws, and that's it. You know. And here's the other thing. These screws are smaller than that, okay? So I'll do a test trial and see how well those screws go into the plastic anchors. If they're hitting the back of the plastic anchor or something like that, maybe I decide when I take out all of these, I use the small screw that came with those with the new hinge. Okay, maybe I don't use these at all. All right, something like that. And then you know what I'm going to do? When I take all these off, I'm going to put them right back in these containers, and I'll save them. I'll put them up in the attic in storage with the screws in case I ever come across a cabinet that needs some of these for something. Okay, I always save all the stuff that I take off if it's still in good condition. No sense throwing it away. Maybe you've got a friend who needs some, or you're doing a remodel job, or you're doing a house flip or something, and you need some of these hinges. Keep them all together. Now I did that same thing when we changed out all of these door hinges. We had gold hinges here, so I took all those off because Mommy wanted the nice nickel finish, because we repainted these doors, repainted the walls. And doesn't the nickel finish look nice against bright white and this kind of medium gray on the walls? I think that looks sharp, as opposed to what they had in there before. They had here. I haven't done this door yet. Okay, so this one goes out into the garage. I haven't painted this door yet, and so I left the existing deadbolt in and the doorknob. But after I paint the garage door here, you know, I'll take everything off and I'll save this stuff, and I'm going to change it out to the dull chrome. But you see, I mean, this doesn't look as good, the brushed or the polished gold, as opposed to the dull chrome or the dull nickel. You could call this dull chrome finish too. This is actually called nickel, but dull chrome looks about the same. And so when I took all the hinges off and all the doorknobs, they were still in really good condition. Where do you think I put them? Yeah, up in the attic. I've got all the hinges, I've got all the doorknobs. And you know, if I come across another job or something that I'm working on, or something that somebody needs help on, I'm gonna take the stuff, and I might be able to use it on another job. So anytime you get ready to replace something, think about saving your old materials.